Sounds good visibility.
Joyce Gardner. Oh, okay. It is very cute. Is it the same? Yeah.
Spacey ship.
Thank you so much for being here. It's warm.
Ratio on it. There we are.
It's so big for limes though, isn't it? Wow.
A big one, but I guess we don't have it. This was in there. Walk
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
I saw like the fashion.
Second National Golden Dog.
help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead, I think it's growing. Soon we will be wanted. Country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through, making our way to a distant place, just us two, somewhere new. Watch the sky fade into the
They sell it?
So here at Rabbit Hole, we have some pages doing tours from the room. I gotta talk about where the room is everything.
We're gonna be out of these towers. And then it's 4th grade triple malt bourbon whiskey. We'll have tap grain from malt. Then you have the Rabbit's Resonate the other one's gonna be fresh. Kind of get 2 different flavor profiles. Thank you.